So Prince Cunningham is the Camarilla Prince of the city.
The current Prince of the Camarilla. Crazy Prince Cunningham. He has the reputation of being several sandwiches short of a picnic. And possibly the entire picnic basket.
He took over when the former prince, Prince John, left for the Middle East. We don't like Prince Cunningham. He happily sends racist thugs off to burn down temples because of his creepy prejudice against thin bloods, and then sends us heads in the box. Like it was our fault that we were compelled to murder a thug.
Let's just say that as far as Cunningham goes, we increasingly dislike him as things go on.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
That would be Prince John.
He's the former prince who wandered off to the Middle East to be part of the Gehenna stuff and hasn't been heard from since he went away.
Not impossible for a vampire of his apparent age.
Typical Camarilla vampire.
Ventrue Camarilla vampire, yeah. To the extreme, though, this guy did not have friends anyone would like.
No.
Ruthless and heartless is an apt description.
As far as I'm aware, he was kind of an iron fist and an iron glove, but
considerably less of an asshat than Prince Cunningham.
Yeah, basically.
Lovely.
Fion's the sheriff.
Oh god.
Yeah. Camarilla enforcer.
She's the one that you call in first. She's the one that threatens you to cease and desist whatever it is you're doing that the prince doesn't like. And then Valentina gets called in if you cross the line again.
Yeah, the coterie's not really much dealings with her, to be honest. Joe I did, but that was about it. Anyway, Joe thinks she's lovely.
Of course he does.
That's because Joe tried to hit on her. It did not work.
I'm not actually sure that many of us have counted Fionn much.
She hasn't really.
It's not been a great. The most dealings with Fionn. Let's be brutally honest.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if that story is at an end.
Yeah, that's one I'm not sure. I kind of feel that maybe Joe's impression of Fionn should be the one that.
Well, you're probably right. Yeah, Joe encountered Fionn. She is the sheriff of the Camarilla. You're not granted the title of sheriff unless you are a very competent individual and have the ability to enforce the rules of the Camarilla. But Joe encountered her because there was a bit of a breach of the Masquerade. He was caught on camera feeding on someone. So he met Fionn at his haven, no less, and where he was given a bit of a telling off. But there was a bit of a back and forth between the two. A bit of
a frisson.
A frisson.
Spark.
I think there was a bit of a spark in the exchange, to the extent that he would keep in quite regular contact with her after that, including a hunting spree out in Glasgow Green / date.
It does take some sort of mind to think of that as a date.
However, things escalate with Joe, and I think we'll leave it at that. But I don't think their stories.
To be fair, if you had to give a one-line description of Joe, just calling it "things escalate with Joe" would be a pretty good one.
I think that's fair. Awesome.
Oh, Valentina.
Everybody's favourite psychopath.
Yeah, Valentina.
In fairness, yes, I was quite. I do love her hair, if nothing else.
A little distracting, shall we say?
Remind me, was Valentina the?
Valentina's the scourge. She's the hired killer for the prince. If someone needs to be made dead, you call Valentina.
The fact that she's completely unhinged in violence, completely loyal to Prince Cunningham, that if you cross the Camarilla enough, that she will hunt down
you're all dead.
Yep.
Everyone you've ever met.
Yep.
Dead.
Hunt down you, your family, everyone you've met, everyone you've ever sat next to and had a drink, sat next to while drinking in a bar, and their cousin and their cousin's tennis partner.
Let's be fair, Sim. You were just using this as an excuse to look up pictures of vampires, weren't you?
I'm not even hearing any of you right now. I'm just going to watch. The party
she
in
is
my
stealing
head.
one of Rose's outfits. I mean, that is totally a Rose corset.
Yeah, the party in my head is definitely just getting started.
Fion's the good cop, she's the bad cop, and Aud's major interaction with her so far was kind of ambushing her and kicking her bag in, which was hilarious. She attempted to ambush Aud in a back alleyway to deliver a somewhat unsubtle warning from the Camarilla not to get involved with hunting down the Second Inquisition. And Aud took exception to that and jumped her, which frankly gives Aud somewhat more satisfaction than she's entirely proud of. Aud does not approve. She is definitely Prince Cunningham's extremely blunt instrument.
Ooh, Aud got to get her.
Oh yeah.
I think so. Not a nice chap.
Not a nice human.
So that is Adolf Dykman, and Aud loathes and despises him with every ounce of her being, and is filled with a disgust and contempt for him that is almost indescribable, and regards it as a positive duty to rip him from the face of the earth and burn anything he's left behind. He was a Nazi who Aud encountered in France in the early part of the Liberation. Aud was one of two survivors, if you can say that for someone who's undead, of a village that where the Maquis had taken out the Nazis who were in charge of it. Eichmann came back and burnt the place to the ground, including kids, with some awareness of what Aud was, apparently, because apparently the Nazis didn't only encounter pseudoscience, at least in this setting. He attempted to take Aud out and somewhat underestimated her, so that Aud and one incredibly brave woman from the Maquis were able to escape from this village, and to the best of Aud's knowledge, he had died. She never truly believed it. She was always afraid that he might pop up again somewhere, and yeah, that is someone let us say that he is possibly the human being out of all the teeming millions that exist in the entire world who she would like to rip out of it and cast into the sun.
Monteith Mausoleum.
That's the entrance to the Nosferatu haven, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the
Glasgow Necropolis. That's where the Nosferatu live. They have their haven under there, and they collect. Nosferatu are the best information gatherers and keepers in the Kindred, so they keep all their information as secret as they can, and they keep it all underneath the necropolis, because where else would you keep secrets about dead people?
Dead men tell no tales, or so they say.
Yeah. Ninian, oh god.
Ninian, who is in desperate need of a manicure.
He is the Nosferatu Primogen, and the husband of Sarah, or partner of Sarah, who has some pretty awesome future tarot reading powers.
We love her.
Oh yeah, Sarah's pretty cool.
He is the head of the Nosferatu. He is the the one that he's the spy master. He's the one that he decides what information is worth trading, makes the deals.
Beautiful.
And yes, is in very, and Rose twitches every time she sees his fingernails.
loves picking his nose.
Ninian was Lily first met Ninian while they were invisible, hiding behind a staircase, watching Shalva try to hide and very much fucking failed. Like, literally banging pots and pans. Shalva, the human he built like, I don't know how you managed it. It was so funny. God, I'm just like watching in shock. This is the guy that Elizabeth sent me out with, the so-called like expert, really good fucking experienced vampire, and he's stomping about with fucking bricks in his pants. And I'm just like, wow. And Ninian is there on the stairs, turns around like a goddamn weird animatronic and looks directly at Shalva and then glides backwards down the stairs into the darkness. That was my introduction to Ninian. I was like, well, I'm fucking staying invisible. Fuck this. Shalva, you're on your own, bestie. I ain't doing nothing here. I came here to find Bryce. That's what I'm gonna do. You can do whatever this is. And then I later met Ninian further along in the tunnels, where I had to decide to be a little bit brave and be a good little Boy Scout, like Elizabeth clearly wanted me to be, and do some actual work and scout out ahead. And Ninian was there waiting for me like some kind of weird predator uncle, eyes glinting in the dark, saying, "Come with me, child. I want you to come here." I was like, no, thanks. I'm not allowed. And then we were going down the tunnels more and more, and there was clearly more crunching and crunching beneath my feet that turned out to be bits of bone and maybe charcoaly bits of body and dried blood, and I'm trying very hard not to notice this. And he's like, "Well, what do you think is beneath your feet?" "I don't know," says Lily. Ninian was probably this close to just slapping the backside of Lily's head.
That is a far better story than anything we have about Ninian.
Otherwise, the main thing we pretty much have is that we are, well, Aud at least, is so fucking conflicted about this guy, and more than half convinced that he is entirely working for the Second Inquisition, or at the very least thoroughly willing to sell all of us, possibly every other vampire in Glasgow, out to them. He was there on the night of Bryce's death.
He was in hiding.
He was. One of the things that alerted us that something was almost certainly about to go wrong was him and his girlfriend fucking crouching in the scenery. He then, at least at one point, got grabbed randomly out of a corner by Happy.
I don't know if that was him. That was certainly one of his kind.
It was him.
Was it him? Oh, in which case, yeah, I threw a mobile phone at this person. Happy has a habit of randomly throwing objects into corners to find, vampires that have decided to turn invisible, because that's just cheating. And on one lucky occasion, managed to see that this person was actually lurking in the corner.
Ow!
And grabbed him out and demanded an explanation. Yes, we don't take kindly to people spying on us. We can spy on other people, but we don't take kindly to people spying on us.
Amongst other things, he gave us some secure phones, which we then went out of our way never to use, because it was like, yes, please give me all of your information tips, and type them up for me and send me them in a fucking manila folder, please. So yeah, least trustworthy person in Glasgow, and probably happy to sell us out to the highest bidder, as far as I'm concerned.
That makes the whole thing with Lily later so much more fun for me. I'm not gonna lie.
That would be Sarah, who is a Nosferatu fortune teller. Yeah, we like her. She knows her stuff.
My experience with Sarah is very much her appearing out of an alley to the side of me, along with Ninian, and both of them encircling their arms alongside me to escort me inside the nightclub, very much against my will.
Ninian's
Tara
right
is
hand.
the Nosferatu who gave Rose her reading, her tarot card reading.
The necropolis is where she lives, isn't it?
She is, I believe she's Ninian's sort of right-hand person.
The much too good for him partner, wife, girlfriend of Ninian.
Lots of various sort of oozes and, pustules and
Hence the
things. She also
bandages.
seems to have bugs everywhere. Bugs are a thing with her.
Sarah is possibly the head of the Samici in Glasgow. Eastern European. He is ancient, probably not out without the having skipped a millennium ancient, but at least 500 years old, I think. 4-armed reptilian horror vampire, flesh-crafted horror vampire. Draconic, absolutely fucking terrifying. Has 4 arms. Definitely doesn't buy suits off the rack.
Bruce Lee, or aka the Dragon Zamitzi.
I think this guy is about 5 different names. Bruce Lee, 4-armed Snake Man, the Dragon, Sarah, and I'm sure there's some derogatory.
Oh no,
swear
please
word
don't
about-
kill me! Ah!
I mean, it's like, oh, it's the 4-hour bugger.
Captain Wankbag.
Jazz hands. Yeah.
Too
Who is
much
this guy?
information in your private time there, Chris.
Hey, look, the guy's got 4 hands. What do you think he uses them for?
I think it's ripping apart. Let's go with enlightened.
Ripping the graffiti.
Yeah, and anyone who pisses him off, basically.
He's known as the Dragon in Glasgow, presumably because of the whole flesh-crafted reptilian horror bit.
Vicious, savage, and I would put even money, likes playing with people's flesh, including his own, for shit
he is
skittles. Zamitzi.
He's a Zamitzi, yeah, so that's basically what they do. They experiment with their own bodies and the bodies of other people to see what
He is also a modern day slave owner, basically.
Everyone who works for him is so terrified that they possibly rather commit suicide by furious Viking shield maiden than betray him. Though not quite.
Yeah, he does appear to have been running the human trafficking blood dog drug operation that we rather forcibly shut down. He is peerlessly the hardest thing any of us fought through a succession of hard fights in the game, but he could probably have handed each of us our ass in turn and not really broken a sweat. It was terrifying, and worryingly for he appears to be disgustingly well connected, which means that any notions we may have of future revenge are probably going to have to get political.
I'd quite like to meet him again at some point when I was armed with a nice, rocket-propelled grenade or two.
We didn't exactly push it. We sort of scarpered before. He's a slow
We
burn.
haven't tried to fight him. He's too scary.
We got lucky interrupting him.
Yeah, if we ever have to take him on, it's going to have to be a dog pile.
And lots of planning.
Yeah.
Atif, Sarah's bodyguard and attack dog, really. The big guy who Shalva opened up his face in one of the fights they had. But yeah, it took the team to really put him down.
That was the more human-looking, extremely hard vampire who attacked us in the flat where we were letting the trafficked kids, young people, young women mostly, out of their horrifying traffic operation. That was the one who we severely inconvenienced.
He's pretty tough.
He was terrifyingly hard, and it took a lot to ruin his day.
And Black.
Is that the provost?
Yeah.
Diane Black was a woman who hung around the night. The night elements has always had an interesting reputation and has always attracted
dubious persons
from all walks of life. And one of these people was a very mysterious woman calling herself Diane Black. It may well have been a real name, it may well not have been a real name. Certainly at this time in his life, Happy was definitely not in a position to care. His leather trousers, if you ever get to know Happy, you will realise that he wears exactly one item of clothing, and that is a pair of leather trousers. His leather trousers at this time were looking slightly threadbare, and he was in dire need of some funds. Now, there are many ways for vampires to make money simply by being vampires and leaving their morality at the door. And one of these involves the selling of their blood. Now, vampire blood is something that is horrendously potent and can be used in all manner of things, most of which is best not to think about if you want to sleep at night. Happy and this woman struck up something of a business relationship and something of an intimate relationship. She was very, very keen and very, very insistent to get blood from Happy, and despite resisting for quite a while, Happy did eventually give in because the money was very, very, very sorely needed. Their intimate relationship did not last much beyond this. It couldn't quite survive the transactional nature of the relationship, like we say. I'm not going to lie and say that she's crossed his mind over much in the past 10 years as things have improved in terms of circumstances, but she will almost certainly make an appearance somewhere down the line. People that you have worrying relationships with tend to, don't they?